Okay, good evening everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday evening drop-in at the Nottingham Buddhist Centre. My name is Richard. I've been away for a short while, so I'll be back on Tuesday nights fairly frequently from now on. We've just got a couple of minutes before we start. It's nice to be back, nice to be doing stuff again. Still no real word on when we're going to sort of look to reopen. It will require quite a significant rejig of what we do, but I'm sure we'll get that dealt with. For now we're still keeping them very active online. So if you're a regular, you can come to the Sangha night on Wednesday evening. And there's usually meditation, a talk, and some group stuff as well. Do come along on Wednesday evening if you like. So a very sort of well attended, one of our most well attended sessions really. We'll probably go ahead and make a start actually. My name is Richard. If you come to the centre, you've almost certainly seen me around. I live up in the community upstairs with 4 other guys, and we all contribute in various ways to the running of this place. Just a brief word about Ghana. I'm sure you've all heard it a lot, but we're even more reliant than normal on what people generously give us, what they choose to donate. So we're very aware that this is a pretty difficult time for everyone. And it's quite difficult for us too. So we're very, very reliant on any sort of generosity you can give us really. Everything really helps. So if you go to our website, there is a donate button there. And if you are a UK taxpayer and you want to do it, you can gift aid that. Gift aid is just a scheme that allows us to collect some tax back. And that makes quite a difference to us, just as a sort of small charity. It's just a government scheme that allows small charities that have a lot of small donations to have a lower tax bill, get some money back basically. That's all I'll say about that, I think. So in terms of posture, I guess because you're all at home, you've probably got your best posture sorted out maybe. If you haven't, there are a few principles that you can try and work with. One of the principles that's quite good to think of is, can you do 2 things at once? Can you be very, very relaxed, but also can you be alert at the same time? So one way that it's good to do that is to make sure that you are actually sitting upright and your body is supporting you as much as you can, particularly your top half, your torso upwards. It's always good to try and let your spine do that kind of work. That seems to me anyway to be a good way to stay alert basically in meditation. By all means experiment with what's going to work for you. But sometimes if we're in too much of a relaxed posture, maybe lying down or in a really comfy chair, we can just drift into sleep mode, especially if we've had quite a busy day. And that's not really what we're looking for in meditation. So just try to find a kind of middle ground there between being able to relax fully, but also just being able to stay alert. You're not looking to be hyper vigilant or anything like that. You're just looking to be aware enough of your body and your mind to be able to work with them really. So if you find that you're struggling to stay upright, your body's having to work to stay upright, that's a good sign that your posture needs a bit of work. It probably means that you need to support your lower back. Lots of people in the workplace and so on say that when you're sitting, the whole of your posture is driven by what's going on in your lower back. So maybe just put a cushion at your lower back just to straighten the spine up a little bit. Something along those lines usually works. If you do feel that your body is working hard to keep you upright, it's good to try and solve that before you start to meditate, because that will just become more difficult as time goes on. It won't get easier. The same with any sort of niggling pain you might have. I mean, there might be some pain that you simply can't do anything about, and that's something to work with in meditation. But things that you can sort of relate to your posture and you can change, then it's a good idea to just have a look at that and think, actually I need to change that a little bit before I get started. Otherwise it will just become a source of distraction, basically. So I think that's all we can really say, because you've all got your own sort of environment at the moment. So it's probably good if you can find a place where you're going to be maybe uninterrupted for a good half an hour, 40 minutes, something like that. So tonight's meditation, the Metta Bhavana. Metta means loving kindness, and Bhavana means to cultivate, or to bring into being. So basically what we're going to do is try to look for positive emotion in our experience, look for it in the world, and then we're going to spend time with that. And as we do that, this feeling of loving kindness, feeling of metta, starts to grow, starts to become more powerful, starts to become more developed and sophisticated in lots of ways, the more time we spend with it, basically. And one of the reasons we do this, there are something in the Buddhist world called the three poisons, and they are greed, hatred, and delusion. And to some extent, we all embody those, and the world embodies them as well. And what the Metta Bhavana is doing is it's setting up a kind of alternative. It's not bringing something new into the world as such. Metta, loving kindness, is a human trait. But quite often we see that the world sometimes feels a bit dominated by hatred and greed and craving and things like that. And to some extent we're all engaged in that. So what we can do is we can start to put an alternative in place, if you like, put it that way. So one thing that we're doing when we do the Metta Bhavana is that we're committing to a process of transformation. It's not just that we sort of sit down and feel okay for a bit and then we go back to the normal world of whatever it is that we're doing, and it may be more or less sort of tainted with hatred and greed and delusion and so on. What's happening is that we're actually transforming the way we are. Our very sort of being is being transformed. That might sound like a very grand project, but actually that's what we do all the time anyway. The world is influencing us, our own selves are influencing our psychology, our emotional state is all having an influence. And we can choose to change that. I think this is the most important thing really for me at the moment about this meditation is that you can bring it into the world of your volitions, your ethical choices, and you can say, actually, there are options in my mind and in my emotional life. And I can choose to indulge the more negative things if I want to, but I can also choose to commit to something that's much more powerful and transformative. And that's metta. So we can choose to do it. And I think that's just really important because it makes it available. If we feel that our emotions are kind of somehow beyond our reach, then it seems to me that will be very difficult to transform. So what we're doing when we say that we can bring them into this realm of volitional activity and ethical behaviour, we're actually saying, well, we have choices and we're going to choose to develop this positive emotion. And then we're going to see what happens there. So I did a retreat on the Metta Bhavana recently, a few weeks ago. I did my first ever online retreat. And one thing that came out of that is that when we do the Metta Bhavana, our sort of conception of what happiness is changes. And I think what they meant by that maybe was that we stop looking for the world to kind of deliver, if you know what I mean. And we start looking to ourselves to do it. We start thinking, well, I can be happy within myself. I don't necessarily need approval. I don't necessarily need material stuff. I mean, not any of those are important. But when we go to those things as if they're going to solve all our problems, or if I only had that, or I was only in that relationship or something like that, that's when it becomes a little bit of a problem. And when we do the Metta Bhavana, we start to act on what are more like values. We value that state, we value loving kindness so highly that when we can access it, that is what generates our happiness. So our whole idea of what happiness is starts to change. And I think that's a very, very powerful shift, actually, because it brings it into the area of personal responsibility as well, which is actually very liberating. You might sometimes occasionally feel a bit overwhelmed with I'm responsible for something that maybe feel a bit more powerful than me. But actually, yeah, I think we are on some fundamental level very responsible for that. So another way of looking at metta is that it's a very wise emotion. And in that, I think what that really means is that it's an emotion that takes account of other realities than our own. It's not just about kind of me and what I think and how I feel about things. We're taking in other people's reality. So in that sense, we're looking at something that's more objective, and in some sense, it's more real. It's not just a kind of like very slim sort of slice of pie. When you look at other people's realities, it's much bigger than anything that you do as an individual. So there's something there about taking in a reality that is not your own, and that's what the Metta Bhavana is really about. So how we do it in 5 stages, and it's about bringing people to mind. So it's quite an imaginative meditation. And the first stage, we bring ourselves to mind. Now, that sounds like it should be straightforward, but sometimes we don't have a very straightforward relationship with ourselves. Sometimes we might find ourselves frustrating and difficult and wish we were different. But that's actually quite a positive thing to want. You've spotted that you don't want something about yourself, so you want to transform it, and the Metta Bhavana can do that. So we look at that, and we also, a good thing to do when we bring ourselves to mind as well is just to think about all the acts of kindness that we do. We do so many acts of kindness for ourselves every single day. Even just very simple things like wearing good clothing, eating well, doing sort of things that we enjoy and we know we're going to like. All of those things are acts of kindness towards ourselves. Sometimes maybe we don't sort of spot those because they're so routine, and they do feel routine. But actually, they are all acts of kindness. And so it's worth just tuning into that sense of what you do for yourself. Maybe think about a good decision you've made, or just when you were kind to somebody. Just a simple way of doing it. So the second stage is called the good friend. That's normally a pretty straightforward stage for a lot of people. So just pick someone who's very straightforwardly friendly with you. Don't pick someone that you're sexually attracted to, or you're in maybe a parental relationship, something like that. Don't pick that. Just pick something that's quite a simple, straightforward friendship. One way that I do it is if just think of someone, if they walked in the room, you just smile straight away. Because we all kind of know someone a bit like that, where you don't have to think about that, you just do it, because that's the response you have. You're happy to see them. So pick someone like that. The third stage is the neutral person. So a neutral person, it should be someone that you can get a good sense of, a good visual sense. So don't pick anyone that maybe you interact with over the internet or just speak to on the phone or something like that. No matter how well you get on with them, it's difficult to get a sense of them as a person if you do that. So it could be someone that you do know a little bit about. There might be someone at work, for example, that you don't really have any interaction with. You might just see them walking around, or you see them in the car park or something. They could live near you, but you've never spoken to them, but you've seen them maybe even for years, but you don't really know them. Public transport and things like that, very good source of neutral people. Sometimes people are in routines and you see the same people every day. So just pick someone like that. And what's happening there is we're going to look for a kind of response to someone's just humanity. It's unclouded with our judgments and preferences and things like that. So that stage can go one of two ways, I think. Some people find it difficult to engage because they don't feel as much to hook their emotions onto. But don't worry about that too much. Just try to imagine just sitting with them and just enjoying something simple, even if it's just you're on a park bench and the sun's shining on both of you. You could just imagine something like that. Just a way of connecting with the fact that they enjoy that as much as you do. It could go the other way, which is the way it sometimes goes for me, where it's kind of a relief for my preferences to disappear for a change. And actually it feels like I can have quite a lot of goodwill towards that person when I'm free of my own silliness, really. So there is that going on as well. So that can go either way. So don't worry too much if you get either of those things. Just work with it. That's the important thing, is that you can bring it into your volitional, ethical sort of choices. And you can say, actually, I'm going to choose to wish this person well and have a positive regard for them. So that's the neutral stage. The fourth stage is the difficult person, sometimes called the enemy. Sounds quite dramatic. So don't pick your worst enemy. Go with someone who there is some tension with. What we're doing there is we're taking Metta into an area where it doesn't normally go. And this is where the transformation really starts to kick in. Is that we can choose to have this positive regard for another person, regardless of the circumstances. It's our value that is in the ascendancy there. We value loving kindness that high that we do it. And all of the other circumstances are almost just a contingency around that some way. If you did pick someone who was your kind of worst enemy, it may be that it just overwhelms your ability to generate metta, so which is one of the reasons why we don't really do it. I mean, if you've been doing this practice for a very long time, you probably could pick someone who was pretty bad. But just especially if you're new to this practice, just pick someone who there's a little bit of tension with. And they could even be a good friend, and you may have had just a little bit of difficulty with them. So in the final stage, what we do is we bring all of those people together in our minds: ourselves, the good friend, the neutral person, the difficult person, and we try to equalise this sense of metta. So we wish them well, we wish them happiness, we wish them freedom. And we try to make sure that that happens equally to all four people, because I think you'll find when you put all four people in place, you'll find there are a variety of different responses playing off all the time. But we're just going to try and let that metta just flow out towards those people. It's a little bit like there's an image sometimes used of the sun shining. It just shines. It doesn't think, well, I'm not shining on that guy because I don't like him, and I'm not shining on that because it's ugly, and all this sort of stuff. It just shines, and that's what metta is like. It doesn't discriminate in that way. So after that, we start to radiate out this feeling of metta out to include all sentient beings everywhere. So we'll do that in a quite gradual sort of way, and then just see how you feel. So it goes from working within yourself to transforming and flowing out into the world generally. And I think that final stage is important in terms of carrying on the practice outside of meditation. Really tuning in to what's happening in meditation allows you to sort of see what's happening outside of meditation. I've had at times had some really positive interactions with people out of the blue when I've actually not been in a very good mood. And I've thought, well, actually, that's probably because I've been doing the Metta Bhavana for quite a number of years. And I felt, are they just picking up something in me that is almost like a habitual sort of positivity towards them? And then my own mood sometimes just doesn't seem to matter at all. I can just do this sometimes. I'm certainly not doing it all the time. But yeah, I can do it at times. And you may notice that in yourself, that suddenly you feel there's more positivity in your life. Your relationships are starting to become a bit smoother and a bit, maybe just a bit more willing to regard others in a sort of way. I'm not saying you don't do that, but we can all do it a bit more. So I think that's what I'll say for now. One more thing. We'll use a few phrases just to help you tune in to what's happening. So there's a very traditional phrase, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be free from suffering. And the idea behind that phrase is really that that's what everybody wants. And that has a kind of equalising effect between yourself and whatever stage you're in. I think that's just a really important thing, is that all beings want that. They want to be free, they want to be healthy, they want to be happy. And you only have to look at a caged animal or something to see how just totally depressed it is. People who aren't living the life that they feel they should live or want to live, you just see how unhappy they can be. So everybody wants to be well and happy and free. I'll just repeat that, and if it helps you, you can just repeat that when you're wishing someone well, when you're wishing them happiness. Just repeat the phrase, and it helps you to engage with the person. So we'll do a very short body scan at first, just to help us to tune into where we're starting from. Very important to notice where you're starting from. Because otherwise, if you don't do that, it could just become a little bit of a fantasy where you try to sort of conjure up this state of being where everything's okay, but actually you're not transforming what's here, what's in your heart, what's going on in your mind. So it's good to check in with what's actually going on, what am I trying to transform? Because if there's a lot of anger around, you can transform it with metta. It may not be easy, but you can do it. So it's worth thinking about, where am I at the moment? Am I a bit grumpy? Am I feeling a bit annoyed with someone? All of that stuff is very valuable knowledge about where you're starting from and what you're engaging with, what you're trying to transform. So, I'll be quiet now and we can start to meditate. So we'll do a quick body scan and then we can get started. I'll just give you a few seconds just to settle into your postures. And now we can just start to direct our awareness towards our bodily experience. There'll always be something in the foreground of this experience, other things in the background. If you've just eaten, you may feel that that's a strong sensation of being full. You may have had quite an energizing day, maybe some good news around. Just notice how that's making you feel. You could also have been quite tired, a very long day. Just tuning into where you're starting from physically. What's your emotional state? Don't worry too much about labeling it or anything like that. Just tuning into how you're feeling. What are the sensations? Just tune into the sensation of the breath. The breath is often a source of information about our emotional state. We're feeling quite agitated, a bit anxious maybe. We've yet to really settle down. Our breath can sometimes be a bit uneven, a bit shallow. Don't worry about that at all. Just notice that that's where you're starting from. Another extreme of that, your breath could be very even, quite deep, quite smooth. You'll already be feeling quite relaxed. And again, just noticing where you're starting from. Your mind's feeling quite busy. You always try to just focus your awareness a bit lower down in the body. Maybe down into the belly, around your belly button. Try to tune into that sense of your diaphragm expanding, contracting. And in the opposite sense, if you're feeling quite sleepy, a bit of low energy maybe, just try to bring your awareness a little higher up in your body. Maybe around your mouth or your nose. And maybe try as you breathe in to just feel as if your in-breath is going up your nose and across your scalp, from front to back. Just bringing the center of awareness further up your body. So now being aware of where we're starting from in terms of our body, our emotions, our thoughts, we can begin the Metta Bhavana by just bringing ourselves to mind. Just really try to tune in to the first thing that happens when we bring ourselves to mind. It could be a bodily sensation, it could be an emotional state, it could be a particular thought pattern. Maybe we label ourselves in a certain way. And just observe that. And now bringing metta into the area of volition, of our will, an ethical state of mind. We can choose to wish ourselves well, to adopt a positive attitude towards ourselves. If it helps, we can repeat the phrase, may I be well, may I be happy, may I be free from suffering. As we drop that phrase into our experience, just notice the immediate response. How do we respond to doing that? Tuning into the signals that the body is giving us, signal of our emotions, the activity of our mind. We identify the positive emotions associated with ourselves, simple acts of kindness that we do for ourselves all day, looking after ourselves, tuning into that impulse, encouraging it, allowing it to develop and grow, allowing it to be more prominent in our experience. May I be well, may I be happy, may I be free from suffering. So now in the second stage, you bring to mind a good friend. Could be someone that you've been with recently, someone that we know well. It's a simple sense of friendship, positive regard for this person, sense of connection. May they be well, may they be happy, may they be free from suffering. Bringing this intention to the world of our choices, our ethical decisions, to actively wish this person well. find yourself becoming distracted, just tune into the sensations of bringing this person to mind. Come back to the body, come back to your breath. Anything which anchors you in your experience. May they be well, may they be happy, may they be free from suffering. So then on the third stage, you bring to mind a neutral person. This could be someone that we're quite familiar with, but don't really know. Someone you can get a good visual sense of. I've seen them very recently. Just try to bring in someone whose humanity is not clouded with your own preferences or your own judgments. It's another person's reality. And again, just notice what happens when you bring someone like this to mind. Whatever it is that happens when you do that, you can choose to bring this intention of kindness, understanding, and awareness of their reality as a person. May they be well, may they be happy, may they be free from suffering. Holding this neutral person in our minds, open to this other reality. Now may be a good time to just check in with yourself, how you're feeling. How is this practice making you feel? I'm cultivating an intention of kindness. What effect is that having on us? Staying open to our emotional state. So now in the fourth stage, we bring to mind a difficult person. It could be a good friend or even someone who's a bit neutral, but there's some sort of friction or difficulty there. So allowing our intention towards this person to become more prominent, regardless of the circumstances of life. You can choose to look for the positive. You can choose to understand. Choose to be more open to their reality, a reality other than our own. this stage, we're choosing to take metta where I wouldn't normally be going, maybe defensive around this person. But instead, we're going to wish them well, wish them happiness, wish them freedom. May they be well, may they be happy, may they be free from suffering. So now, in the final stage, we bring to mind all four people: ourselves, good friend, neutral person, and the difficult person. We try to imagine wishing them all well, all freedom and health, equally. Just allowing this loving kindness to shine on all beings equally. This is metta, free from our personal preferences. Now we can start to get a sense of this metta radiating out from us, having an influence out in the world, visualizing this metta shining forth from us. To include all of the people that we live with, maybe our neighbours, people in the street. Positive regard for their being. Radiating further and further out across the city or the town or the village where you live. Further and further out in all directions equally. To include all women, all men, include old people, children, including the sick and the well. Wishing all beings freedom, health, happiness. Radiating out to wherever there are sentient beings, meeting them with metta. Now, as we approach the end of the meditation, just bringing our awareness back to ourselves, to our bodily experience, and just notice any sense of contrast. How do we feel now we've done this practice? Feel any changes when we first sat down to meditate? And now, when you're ready, just gently open your eyes and bring the meditation to a close. Okay, thank you very much for joining us this evening, folks. We shall be back on Friday lunchtime, and it'll either be Karen Avacha or Rachel this week, I believe. So Rachel is now back, and she'll be seeing her every, well, maybe once a week or once a fortnight. And I think I'll be back next week. So thanks for joining us. If you can make a donation, we are very, very grateful for that. So go to our website and there's a donate button there, and that really helps us to keep things like this going while we're emerging from whatever it was we've just emerged from. So take care and have a productive time meditating in the week until I see you again. and goodbye for now.